Yes, welcome back everyone. Good morning. So with respect to our last class, we had come across with design and implementation of part 2 there. Okay, so wherein I had said you regarding the different diagrams. Okay, so in that we had come across with a real-time case study of a weather station. Okay, so wherein we had come across with a sequence diagram. Okay, so with respect to a sequence diagram, how does a sequence diagram help in terms of implementation? So wherein we are connecting across with the design section and implementation there. Okay, so wherein I had said you that if at all we are referring across with any particular sequence diagram, so it tells you that for those sequence diagram, the sequence of messages, whatever we are showing across to one respective medium to another, so it says you that it is one of the thing which is used across directly as an user defined function while implementation there. Okay, you can consider it as an user defined function there. So this was all what we had come across in our last class with our prior video. Okay, so with today's video, so here we will be coming across with the term called out as design patterns. So what do you mean by design pattern? So before that, what do you mean by pattern? So all of you might be aware that we will be experiencing a similar kind of a problem every now and then. So wherein we come across with a similar problem every now and then, so that similarity of a problem is addressed by some experienced engineers. Okay, some experienced software engineers will be addressing that particular problem and they will derive a solution for that particular problem. Okay, and this process, entire process, is called out as a pattern. So for an straight away an analogy, if I want to say, if I hand over you a textbook in front of you of software engineering, so we feel it very little bit tiresome to go across with each and every chapter which comes across in which module and other things there. So else what will I do? I will do it, I'll make it precise and I'll say that these are the things which will be coming. Okay, so these are the chapters which you have to refer. Okay, so in these chapters these are the important sections. So if I start saying like this, so you start feeling that that is more adaptable than the prior one. Okay, so that is ultimately your pattern. Pattern in technical term, if I want to say the meaning of it, it is the proven solution to a problem. We have a proven solution to a recurring problem which is existing. So a design pattern is a way of reusing abstract knowledge about a problem and its a solution. But keep in mind, whenever I am saying across with a pattern as a term, so it should have both the things. It should have a problem also, okay, then it should have a description for that problem and valid solution for that particular problem. Okay, a pattern is a description of a problem and the essence of its a solution. Okay, it should be sufficiently abstract to be reused in different settings. That is, I am reusing that particular solution in different context. Okay, so at that time it has to behave in the same way there. Okay, pattern descriptions usually make use of object oriented characteristics, that is ultimately which we call across with one of the characteristics of object oriented, and that is called out as polymorphism. Okay, polymorphism says that a same user defined function which we are declaring or defining behaves differently under different context. Okay, this is design pattern. So wherein let us come across with patterns, and pattern languages are ways to describe best practices, good design, and capture experience in a way that it is possible for others to reuse it. Okay, if someone has given you a solution for that, so what we'll do, we'll start reusing the same kind of a solution with respect to our context or else with respect to our application there. So always keep in mind, whenever I say a pattern, so pattern should have minimum criteria, or else we can call it as elements there. What are those elements? One is it should have a name, okay, name of that pattern, then problem description, what is a problem description for that, what is a solution description, okay, then consequences says you across with the results and trade-offs of applying the pattern. Okay, so ultimately if I take across with an example, already priorly existing many patterns are there. In that, one of the pattern says across as an observer. Okay, so for this observer as a pattern, so the name of the pattern is observer. What's the description of it? It separates the display of object state from the object itself. Okay, so it gives you different display actions there. Okay, depending on the observer. Okay, problem description, it is used when multiple displays of state are needed. So when I am in a need of multiple displays for the same kind of an entry, so at that time at that time this particular pattern will come into focus. Then comes the solution description, is wherein we'll come across with the next particular slide, which will be giving you an UML description for the scene. Okay, consequences are the optimization. Ultimately, I want to enhance my display performance. Okay, so to optimize that, I'll be making use of this observer pattern. Okay, so with this observer pattern, more detailed I have given here. What's the description of this is? It separates the display of a state of an object from the object itself. It allows alternative displays to be provided. When the object state changes, all displays are automatically notified and updated to reflect the change. Okay, what's the problem description? Ultimately the same, graphical display and a tabular display. So wherein if at all for some of the problems I might be requiring an tabular display, and some of them will be like a data flow. So I require an data flow which gives you across as this is my one data from here, so here it has been flowing. So I require it across as in a flow there. So I call it across within the graphical display or tabular display. It depends ultimately on the user there. Then comes a solution description. So solution description says that so for always there are two abstract objects which are required. One is called out as a subject and one more is called out as an observer. Okay, so wherein I have a concrete subject with me and a concrete object with me. Okay, so which ultimately inherits the attributes related to that particular objects there. So ultimately I use for that same. Okay. So here you can just come across multiple displays says you that one observer might require in a terms of pie chart, one more observer might require in a bar chart there. Okay, so these are the two kinds of displays which are required by two number of users, but for what content? My subject is the same. So I have given here a data called out as A equals to B, so A, B, C, D are my values. Okay, first observer sees it in a way how that person likes, that's in a terms of pie chart, and the second observer sees it in terms of bar chart. Okay, these are multiple displays which is using the observer as a pattern. Okay, ultimately for any kind of a solution which you are giving, for any kind of an entry whatever you are taking, ultimately problems arises there. So there are some design problems. What are those? Okay, so design problems are to use the patterns in your design. You need to recognize that any design problem you are facing may have an associated pattern that can be applied. Okay, tell several objects that the state of some other object has changed there. Okay, so if at all an object values have been changed, so at that time ultimately that that creates a certain problem there. Okay, then tidy up the interfaces to a number of related objects that have often been developed incrementally. Okay, then provide a standard way of assessing the elements in a collection irrespective of how that collection is implemented. Okay, allow for the possibility of extending the functionality of an existing class at runtime. Okay, at a runtime when we are looking across with the design problems. Okay, then later let us come across with the implementation issues. Now these are all with design patterns and other things. What happens real time? What are the implementation issues? There are mainly three implementation issues which are being looked across. One is we have to be always very sure that whenever we are implementing anything, it should be reusable. Okay, it should not be only for one time. Then the second one is how to configure them. Okay, configuration management happens to be one more very important issue which is being addressed during implementation. Then the third one is host and target development. So the host and target development are the production software does not usually execute on the same computer. So we do not have the now, like for example, everything has worked well on my respective system. It is all working well, but when it goes across to the target or as a destination side, so at that time you might face some kind of a problems there. So these are all called out as your implementation problems. Okay, so whenever I say reuse, always keep in mind, so the cost and the schedule whatever is being given across for a particular application to be released, okay, that considers a lot, or else that is important a lot. Okay, it becomes increasingly unviable. Okay, especially for commercial and internet based systems. Okay, so reuse levels are at different levels. One is at the abstract level itself, the object level, then component level, system level. So abstraction level is nothing but you do not reuse software directly, but use knowledge of successful abstraction in the design of your software. Okay, so ultimately when you are reusing that particular software directly, okay, so at that time you are reusing the knowledge of successful abstractions in the design there. Okay, whatever are being required across for that design. Okay, so you'll be using it. The second one is the object level. Object level says that you directly reuse the objects from the library rather than writing the code yourself. Okay. Then comes the third one is a component level. So component level says that components are collections of objects, okay, and object classes that you are reusing in an application system. These are all nothing but now object level is nothing but you are not creating a new one. Instead, what do? You start creating. You start using the things from the library. Then either writing the code yourself there. Okay, component level says that components are collections of objects and object classes that you reuse in application systems there. Okay, so ultimately which you are using across in an application system. Then comes the system level says that at this level you reuse the entire application system there. Okay, you reuse the entire application system, so that's the reuse level at the system level there. Okay, next the same one is here given across with an software reuse. So wherein I just say it as it's at the system. Whenever I say software reuse at the system level is COTS. I'm making use of COTS there, component frameworks at component level. Then objects are nothing but programming or as language libraries. Okay, like for example SQRT as a function, directly I'll be using it. Instead I'll be writing my own code there. Okay, instead of that I'll be making use of those things. Abstractions are nothing but through your architectural or design patterns, whatever you come across with a conclusion. So that is nothing but your abstraction part. Okay, so reuse costs are at different levels then. The cost of the time spent in looking for the software, these are all the things ultimately which will increase the cost there. Okay, so that we have to reduce ultimately. Okay, so that is a reuse cost there. Then comes with configuration management, as I have discussed just now already. Okay, so wherein we are making use of reusable components there, then entirely changing the software system. Okay, so whenever I say configuration management activities, so there you will be coming across with version management, system integration, and one more is problem tracking. Version management is nothing but whenever I re-include any new configured object or something, so at that time what will happen is I will be calling it as a new version there. That's a new version management. Okay, where support is provided to keep track of the different versions of the software components there. System integration says that where support is provided to help developers define what versions of components are used to create each version of the system there. Okay, this is with respect to your system integration set. Okay, then problem tracking says that where support is provided to allow users to report bugs and other problems there. Okay, we will be tracking with the problems there. Okay, so whenever I say configuration management tool interactions, so whenever I say configuration management, I am concentrating. So at that time, keep in mind there are different component versions there. Okay, so for every component version, I have different version management which I have to take in consideration. So for whenever I manage an version management, so that is nothing but I am managing across with the system versions there. Okay, so whenever I look across with the component versions and a system version, so I'll be building my system. So when I rebuild my system, I'll be having new system versions there. Okay, for these system versions, if any change is required, okay, for those change I'll be going through the change proposals, and for only those change proposals I'll be managing the changes there. Okay, so whenever I manage it, so I'll be even managing the releases also. I'll straight away, if one change is observed, directly I'll not make that particular management and release it. Okay, I'll be not changing it and releasing it. So ultimately I'll go through that also, and later at the last I'll be releasing that particular system releases. Okay, and the last one which I discussed just now, that's a host target development. As I said just now, it's the same way. Okay, the platform might be more just an the hardware configuration might differ from the host machine to the target machine. So that is one of the very important issue which is to be addressed there. Now whenever I say host, so host is nothing but it has a development platform with it. Okay, I have development tools here. Okay, then I have compilers, then I have testing tools. So with this all, I download the software from this host machine to the target machine. So in the target machine, I have my execution platform. Okay, here I have a development platform, but here I have an execution platform. I have libraries, I have related systems, databases. Okay, so this is the consideration where we have to concentrate saying across on an host and target developments there. Okay, so with respect to host, I'll be having all these, but all of them are will be absent in our target machine. So we have to make sure that these all will be applied here successfully and will be looked across. So this is one of the implementation issue which can be addressed there. Okay, so at the same is your development platform tools there. Okay, so individually what do you mean by development platform tools? Okay, so then what do you mean by the tools called as well? We'll be using across with the testing tool. Okay, then what do you mean by IDE? IDE stands for Integrated Development Environments. Just now in simple words I had said you, the same thing is given as a description over here. Okay, and lastly which will be coming across is an open source development. Okay, open source development says that there are many free softwares which are available nowadays. Okay, free sources. Okay, so whenever your source code of a software system is published and the volunteers are invited to participate in that particular development process, so that we call it across with an open source development there. Okay, so usually it has an roots towards a free software foundation. So this plays a very important role nowadays. It has a very important platform. Okay, so even the labs whatever you guys are working, so even that is also created as a virtual labs. Okay, so these are all the things what we are coming across. Okay, so this is all with respect to your module 3, and here we complete across with our module 3 successfully. Okay, so in our next video and classes we'll be starting across with our module 4. Okay, fine. Okay, if any doubts and other things we'll be discussing in the interaction class. Thank you.